Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another lecture. Today we are going to cover the board committees, and it's a very important topic because it is tested many times in the exam and it's a very easy topic. So if it comes, you have to make sure that you score full marks out of it, right? So if I talk about the board committees, that's our today's topic. So before going towards the board committee, it is very important to understand that what is the need of the board committee, because examiner asks this thing. So, sir, what are the needs? Let me give you the example that how many of you have ever planned the picnic or being the part of any organizing any event or any kind of activity. In that activity, you will see there is a management team, all right, and the management is team is looking after everything. They are making sure that everything goes smooth and they have a successful picnic event or anything. Now, if I say that the management team is collectively responsible, but that management team actually divides the responsibilities, right? They are doing everything collectively, but it is from nowhere a wise way to do the management that everyone is involved in all the activities and they are wasting time. Like for example, in when you are organizing the any picnic or management, you by allocate the task to everyone. You plan it along collectively, all right, you plan it together and then you allocate that, okay, do this thing, you do this thing, you do this thing, and you do this thing, and you give the task to the specialized person who can do the task in the best way. Similarly, on board, they lead the company on the collective basis. They do the decision making collectively. But in order to perform the task, it is not a wise way that each board member is doing all the activities and wasting the time. Okay, if the task need two or three people, give them this responsibility to those who are expert in it, to those who will do this in the best way, and other focus on the other areas, other activities. That is what the purpose or the objective behind the board committees is. So now let's read it. Focus and specialized delegation, because when you make the committees, you actually make the subgroup of the board of directors, and they are specialized and dedicated for their responsibilities and the tasks on which they are specialized. All right, board can focus more on the strategic matters. So now those specific tasks they are allocated. So now the board can actually focus on the strategic matter, the big issues, right? Increase shareholder confidence due to higher involvement of NEDs, because as we studied NEDs, the board committees have the NEDs either in majority or 50%. So when the NEDs are that much in the board committees and you are involving them, the shareholder confidence increases, right? Because they are independent. More time of relevant board member can be spent on the specific matter. Now the specific member who is allocated with the responsibility or the task, he can spend the time because he knows that it is my responsibility and he is expert into it, right? These are the advantages of having the board committees. So what types of board committees do we have? The common types. There can be other types as well, whatever you want to make the, but the common types which are in the best practices, what they are, we have four committees. Number one, nomination committee. Number two, remuneration committee. Number three, audit committee. And number three, we have the risk committee. So one by one, we are going to cover each of them and we will see what are their responsibilities and what they do, how they consist, and blah blah everything, right? So the nomination committee. The nomination committee is consist of majority of non-executive director. That means more than 50%. There should be, for example, if the committee have three members, two should be non-executive, two should be non-executive, and one would be executive director. And the nomination committee, it has the role or responsibility that they will recommend the board on the appointment of suitable candidate on the board. Because when, remember that we said that board can also pass the board can also appoint the directors, all right? So when the board needs to fill the casual vacancy at the board, whom they are going to appoint. So the nomination committee will evaluate the CVs and the resumes of the candidate, and they will nominate two or three people or four people to the board, and they will say, now let's make the decision that who to appoint. So they are going to help board in shortlisting the people. Ensures the balance of the board. Again, they will ensure that the board has the good balance. How? When they are recommending the board on the nominating the new director, so they will ensure that the board has the good balance. Balance about what? Remember about the size, knowledge, skill, expertise, split of duties, diversity. These all areas they will manage this thing while appointing the director. They will keep this in mind that the board has a good balance. Then training and CPD arrangement. The nomination committee is going to nominate and recommend the board regarding the training needs and the CPD arrangement of the whole board. Right. Succession planning. They will perform the succession planning of the board of directors. All right. And we all know that what succession planning is. It is about that when we have to, when obviously the people will come and go. But the show must go on. So who is going to replace which person and what are the you can say strategies or what are the policies and procedure to make that person ready to fill up the position of the director when the director will go retire or maybe any kind of issue, right? So that is called the succession planning. Then we have the remuneration committee. So the remuneration committee by name it is very clear, but let's go through it. Only consists of 100% NED. No executive director can come into this committee because it's about remuneration. If you include the executive director, it will make no sense, right? So you need the 100% independent people in it. If they decide the remuneration of the executive directors, ensure that the remuneration is sufficient enough to attract, retain, motivate the directors. All right. Remuneration policy is linking the remuneration with the performance. This the remuneration committee do these kind of things, right? It is their responsibility to make the policies and introduce such performance or the bonuses or reward structure which is linked with the performance so that they give the good performance and achieve the business objectives and deliver the growth. Then we have the audit committee. It consists of only NEDs, 100% NEDs. All right. At least one member shall have the financial expertise because the audit committee, the word audit. Whenever we say audit, the independence word comes. So because of the independence, it is 100% in NEDs. And also in the audit committee, when we say audit, it is related to finance, right? So there should be someone who is actually have the expertise regarding the finance, right? There should be one person. Who is that? That is the finance director. That is the finance director. Then it recommends the board on the appointment and reappointment of the external auditors. Auditors, all right. They will recommend that whether to reappoint or appoint any other auditor for the upcoming year. So that's their responsibility, and they will do the evaluation and recommend the board. Ensure that the independence of the external auditor, because external auditor has to be independent, and they will ensure that the external auditors are always independent because they are taking the services from them, so they have to ensure that they are independent, otherwise there is no benefit of having the audit. Ensure the timely and accurate preparation and reporting of financial to the board. Again, that is why you are having the financial director. So the audit committee has this responsibility to ensure that the accurate, complete and the timely financial reporting is done to the board of directors so that board of director can approve the financial statement and they can issue the financial statement to the shareholders. Approve the annual internal audit plan. We will study this in the upcoming chapter where we are going to cover the internal audit and the organizational control. That the internal audit, the internal audit department has the boss, and who's the boss? It is audit committee who is the boss of the internal audit department. So they actually approve the annual they review, they evaluate, and then they approve the internal audit plan for the year, that which area to be internal audited, like sales, purchase, production, procurement, treasury, product, PPE, CWIP, whatever the cycle it is, they evaluate it, right? And they also evaluate the internal audit performance as well. So monitor and evaluate the work of the head of internal audit. So it's their responsibility to monitor, review, and appraise the performance of the internal audit head. And then we have few more responsibilities. Design the internal controls. Again, we will see this thing that the risk management, the internal control implementation, these are all the responsibilities of the audit committee. Perform risk management, manage the whistleblowing arrangement. Again, since the whistleblowing, it's a very risky thing, you need the independent person who can support it, who can make it strong. All right, and for that the audit committee is the person who is going to actually make sure that the whistleblowing arrangement is effective. And also, since the internal audit, external audit, risk management, internal control related thing, all things are with them, so they are the most suitable candidate or the most suitable people to look after the whistleblowing arrangement, because the whistleblowing actually relates to these areas, all right, and they can manage it. Then we have the risk committee, that is very easy. So it consists of majority of entities, that means more than 50%. Performs an advice board on the risk arrangement. Again, it's a by name risk committee, right? So they are going to advise and assist the board on the risk related matter, right? About the risk register, risk management, risk manager, tara framework, alaf framework, heat map, all kind of things they will do it, right? Design internal control to mitigate the risk, all right? So these were the board committees. I hope that I was able to explain this thing with the clarity to you. See you all in the next lecture. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.